Thank you very much, Gillian, for your overview of the Invest NI support programs that can help businesses engage with opportunities that arising from the circular economy. We'll now move on to our question and answer session. So if I can ask the fellow panelists to turn on their webcams, please, and unmute themselves, and we can run through some questions. Thanks, guys. First question we've got coming through then is for you, Alberta. So it's what support will government likely to be bringing forward?
Okay, Conor, the support that we will be bringing forward will be, obviously informed by the strategic framework, and that will set the vision and the structure for the support that the department will bring forward together with Invest NI and other agencies. Public money is likely to be invested to stimulate private sector investment in developing the skills needed, and also in requiring the creation of circular economy opportunities and to ensure that we have an inclusive transition to a circular economy, so that there's a just and fair transition. We'll also be supporting innovation and developing infrastructure where necessary to the scale of the transition dictates. We've all obviously already heard from Gillian about four different supports and projects that Invest NI currently have available. But in addition to that, there will be R&D funding provided, and the criteria for that funding will be obviously that it's been informed by and it's in aligning with the direction set by the strategic framework. We've no doubt that we will also need legislation and regulation where necessary. The inevitable carrot and stick will be required, and we'll be creating economic incentives and regulatory requirements to enable that circular economy solutions to be developed, so that they're the sort of norm rather than the exception. And also we're likely to be supporting creating platforms for sharing knowledge and resources and products, much like Debbie mentioned in her presentation. So we're likely to get involved in creating those types of platforms as well, Conor.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alberta. Another question we have here then, I think I'll send this one to you, Hayley, is what's the future landscape likely to look like?
Thank you, Conor. I think businesses are likely to lead this transition. I mean, government can provide support and will provide support, but it'll be businesses that adopt new circular business models, and it'll be businesses that bring new products to the market and create new markets for secondary materials. I think government will create those policy levers, will cast the vision in partnership with businesses, and will provide resources. I think also in the future we will start to collect data in a different way, so that we can measure the interaction really between our material use, what we consume, the value from what we produce, and our greenhouse gas emissions as well. And circular economy that have been involved in our project to that is the mass carbon value nexus, and I think it's really important to be linking that, and I think that we're starting to do that as we start to tackle climate change. I also think in the future public procurement plays a massive part in increasing demand for more sustainably sourced products or sustainably designed services, and there's particular industries, I guess, that will play a massive part. Advanced manufacturing has been named a number of times this afternoon. I also think packaging is going to change massively, and our local company Huhtamaki, they have produced a new product called fresh food packaging used from food pulp, and that's just one example of how I think new products will come to the market. And a lot of research is already underway. I know Queen's and Moy Park are looking at present at how to valorise chicken waste, and looking at opportunities to extract collagen and create biopolymers from that. So it's really exciting time, and I think the future is very bright.
Thank you. Hey. Bit of a more general one, Debbie. I think you'd be well placed to answer is where could a business get started?
Okay, I sort of mentioned it in my presentation. You know your business, better than anyone. So I think it's up to you to take a good look at your business and review it, in terms of circularity. But a good starting point is actually going on to the Ellen MacArthur website. There's a good lot of tools and information and a lot of reading material there available on that website. And there's actually a tool called oh, I, I've just actually there's a tool, like it's a
Circularity.
circularity tool, so you can go in and put in your details into that and see where you are. And I suppose, like, starting off with getting your baseline of where you are and then seeing how you can, what can you introduce to make like a small change or even a bigger change. And I think business in the community as well also has, some information that you can go onto their website and look up as well.
Perfect, Debbie. Gillian, there was one came through whenever you were speaking just about the resource matching service. Just asking, could people get a bit more information about how you'd actually get involved with resource matching?
Yeah, so any businesses that are interested, just get in touch with us, drop us an email through the contact details that I gave at the end of my presentation. We're happy to talk to businesses. Usually we find that it comes through a conversation initially that can actually lead into other support. But we have a team of practitioners from the Resource Matching Service, and they'd be more than happy as well to engage with you and find solutions to some of the more difficult waste streams maybe that you're currently looking at. Yeah, so if you drop us an email into ERE@InvestNI or give us a call, and you'll be put through to our team, and we'll be happy to talk further about that.
Perfect.
Connor, I'll just come back to you. I had a brain freeze there. It's Circulytics, and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation.
Yeah.
And then there's a responsible business map in the business and the community website as well.
Okay, no problem. Questions come through. I'm going to read this out to make sure I get this right. May I ask views on the extent to which the principle of proximity should be applied when thinking about circular economy and waste management and recycling in Northern Ireland? I think Debbie said that you'd give a go at that.
I suppose in terms of general waste management terms, we have got the waste management hierarchy, which, we use when we're looking at waste management. And yes, we should, ultimately aim to follow the proximity principle because, waste should be managed close to where it's produced. And I suppose that cuts down on transport of waste and, carbon associated with that. But I guess, and that's just particularly in relation to waste management, but what we're talking today about is, the circular economy and designing out waste. So, the latest DAERA statistics show that there's more waste being produced in Northern Ireland. So it's something that we really have to work hard, to cut down the waste being generated in the first place. So there's just a bigger picture than waste in the circular economy. It's a lot wider than just waste management. I don't know, does any of the other speakers want to contribute as well to that question?
Yeah, I think as well, probably it's shifting our thoughts from waste to seeing it as a valuable resource. So you touched on it in your presentation, Debbie, in terms of thinking circular, so from the very raw materials that we purchase, are there opportunities there to purchase secondary raw materials that would still, be useful in our processes? And what valuable resources are we coming out from our processes that we could think of? We could extend the life of those or help them get into particular valuable material streams that actually are going to be of use then in products either within the same sort of sector or perhaps in other sectors that might take those materials and use them as well. And I also think as well, there's probably a wider conversation. I think Alberta touched on that, in the sense of the collaboration and the joint up conversations between the government departments in terms of waste infrastructure and all of those things. If we're thinking local, then obviously there are opportunities for local opportunities maybe in the future as well for any new materials or resources that are needed at a local level, and what opportunities would there be there as well for new businesses.
Waste seems to be a big focus for Hot Topic, because our next question is also around waste, which is saying it's great to see the efforts going into reducing waste, which is long overdue. But unfortunately, there still seems to be too many businesses irresponsibly dealing with waste, including simply burning it. So it's asking, how are we going to link in CEF with NIEA, local council waste regulation enforcement? Heidi, do you want to answer that?
Yep, sure. So we have NILGA represented on our Circular Economy Coalition, as well as SOLACE, and we've had early discussions with NILGA about kind of the role of local councils and in delivering aspects of the circular economy. But I think in terms of waste regulations and enforcement, we also, as part of our review of policy across central government, we've had lots of conversations with policymakers who would be responsible for delivering regulation or changing regulations. And so, yep, DAERA are represented on, are really involved in this project and the development of the strategic framework. We're doing it so closely in partnership with them, recognising that DFE doesn't have responsibility for all aspects that are needed to be taken into account in this. So I'm not sure, sorry, Conor, if I answer that question, but councils are very much involved and policymakers within DAERA.
Brilliant, Heidi, thank you. And that brings us to a close then. Those who've ran a little bit over time there, so sorry for keeping these, but thank you all for attending the webinar, and I hope you have found it useful. So we'd like to take the opportunity to thank all our expert speakers for their excellent presentations. And I know there is one or two questions we didn't quite get to today, but we will take them offline and come back to you afterwards. And if you do have any further queries, please don't hesitate to contact your Invest NI client executive or member of our energy and resource efficiency team with the contact details that Gillian had shared earlier to them. So thank you, everybody.